One thing I've noticed with Max It Up is that on this record, she's talking about the different benchmarks of success. You know, where she wants to see soca going, because that's what she's talking about. Max it up. We're taking soca to the next level. Max it up. But throughout the record, throughout the song, she keeps referencing foreign benchmarks. You know, she wants to see the song get on BET and MTV at the Grammys. I mean, even in the music video, it opens with, Best Soca Artist Destra on a Grammy Award. You understand? And I feel like when I listen to this record, even though it's a well produced record, she sings it fantastically. I think it's just a all around great song. But the lyrics is where I feel like I hit a snag. That's where I feel challenged. Because as a Trinidadian, as a West Indian, a Caribbean person, understanding who we are, and of course, Destra, constantly, promoting, Trinidad culture. This is Trinidad, as you love Trinidad, Trinidad, Trinidad. Yet we're using foreign benchmarks as where we're going. Why am I looking at an artist who is a flag bearer, who is at the forefront of the music industry? I mean, at this point, as we pointed out in the previous video, people were already starting to call her the Queen of Soca. So we had that conversation going. But here as a Queen of Soca, what are you directing us to do? Are you directing us to celebrate ourselves, or are you directing us to look outside of ourselves for validation, for acceptance?
I think that's interesting. I think it's interesting for two reasons. One, I agree. I think that within the soca industry, just like, within the Haitian music industry, our benchmark should be the things that we produce. This is a question about a sense of self. Ultimately, that's what you're getting at, right? And when it comes to the Black community within the United States, oftentimes they separate the BET Awards from the Grammys and, other MTV Awards and other award shows that exist because there's a lack of a sense of self. Sometimes they feel like it doesn't have the same esteem as the Grammy. It doesn't have the same prestige. So yeah, you may have 50 BET awards, but if you have 0 Grammys or 1 Grammy and 50 BET awards, that says something about you as an artist. This is the lens that a lot of people have. But all of these things are so there's the disconnect between the Black community and mainstream or white America, the white population in the United States, but it's all still within the United States, right? And then so the United States that exports itself around the world, not only through imperialism, of course, but regardless of how they see the Black artists or BETs within the United States, when it's projecting the United States to the world, everything is good, everything is even. So those on the outside of the United States, you see the BET, the Grammys, you see the MTV. So it's like it's not knowing how that relationship really is, but it still is pointing to your point about why are these our benchmarks in the first place. They're not even equal to each other, but they also should not be how we judge ourselves either.
Now, this album came out in 2006, right? 2006.
Yes.
Around this time, in that early to mid 2000s, was when you started to see this big wave of penetration into the United States from West Indian people, particularly out of Jamaica. Kevin Lyttle is not from Jamaica. I think he's from St. Vincent. But when you listen to a lot of people like Elephant Man, Sean Paul, etc., they were really penetrating the American market. And then, of course, we had Rihanna, who's from Barbados, but she was in that dancehall reggae fusion mix. That she was in that space. So when you look at what was happening, Numidi, Nina Sky, yada yada, you had all of these beats, music that was associated with the Caribbean having a second stride in America. Well, actually, not a second stride. It's probably like the third or fourth stride if we go all the way back to Harry Belafonte days, come forward. But the thing that I think crossed my mind is that where we were watching a lot of this was on the MTV and BET and at the Grammys. That's where we on the outside that's how we were watching it. You turned on MTV and there was Kevin Lyttle and Wayne Wonder and all these different people. Sean Paul was everywhere. Yeah. And then, of course, you turn on BET and who's on 106 and Park but Kevin Lyttle. And you've seen all these people sitting down, with AG and Free and talking about different things. So us here in Trinidad, kind of wondering, okay, when is our turn? I don't know if that's what was going through Destra's mind.
And y'all see it as one thing.
We see it as one thing. American acceptance. American success. breaking through. That's how a lot of people saw it. Oh, if Jamaica can do it, why can't we do it too? And as people are looking on seeing the Jamaican success, especially since there's a Jamaican sound, which is dancehall and reggae, since that's the sound that's penetrating, and then later on reggaeton, which is basically Spanish dancehall. When you see that, no shade, you see that really making waves, then the artists here start wondering, okay, when is our turn? When are we going to do it? Especially when you hear Turn Me On by Kevin Lyttle, which is soca dancehall. Now, Americans were calling it dancehall. It's not dancehall, it's soca dancehall. And then we here in Trinidad saying, wait, that is Trinidad music? And then you're seeing somebody waving, seeing the music video, they're waving Trinidad flags in the mix, and they're saying, well, that should be a Trinidadian doing that and sitting on that chair.
Gotcha.
So then that kind of tension and competition starts building. Part of it is seeing where the folks are going. And then the other side of it is also seeing, okay, well, we also want not just comparison, but we want to be successful. And I think part of that also comes from us being in the Caribbean. Because I think it's a side effect of colonialism in some ways. Because all the time, how do you measure yourself? How do you measure yourself? We're still trying to figure out who we are as a nation. And if that's what we're trying to figure out, then we're always going to use the external benchmark because we don't know how to measure ourselves, because we don't have a shared agreement of what success is. So we look outside. And I also think it's layers of it. It's just so many layers. But one thing I did want to ask as I was saying all of this, does this also happen in Haiti?
Oh yeah, it happens. It depends. I'm going to use konpa in particular. It happens, it'll be in a lyric. So for example, Wyclef Jean, who is from Haiti, worked with one of our bands, a kompa band, T-Vice, on a song titled Party by the Sea. It's Wyclef, T-Vice, and Buju Banton. And then afterwards, T-Vice had already been a big band to the Haitian community before this song existed, by the way, okay? Afterwards, T-Vice had another song where sometimes in kompa you could have a spoken ad-lib. Oh, did you do BET yet? You know what I mean? Because they did BET because of Wyclef. So now this is a bragging thing. Oh, did you do BET yet? Obviously, other bands can't say yes. So there's that. But I think it depends on the sector, because you find that the sectors that have a stronger sense of our identity, of our African ancestry, of our culture, of voodoo, of other things, they kind of hold on to our African identity as opposed to trying to measure ourselves by the French or by the United States. I think with what you said in regards to Trinidad is that part of it is trying to figure out a sense of self, but I think that answer comes with understanding who the United States is. How did the United States come to be? What is the relationship between you and the United States? If the United States is a country of imperialism, are you subject? Are you an object of their imperialism? You know what I mean? Like, and then what does that tell you about you? And then this is how you felt, okay, so then what am I then?
I think part of that is because we are on the doorstep of the United States. We are right outside of the United States, which is the world's largest exporter of media product. And America is very good at promoting itself. Land of the free, home of the brave, the best place, greatest, number one. And because of that, many people think that if like New York, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Everybody wants to go to America because they think that this is the standard. And it is not just about physically migrating. It's also about having our culture make it there. It's about having our exports make it there. Is this idea that if we get American acceptance, that we've truly made it.